and welcome to the Sober Freedom Podcast. I'm Christal.
And I'm Lisa.
And we're here to share our experiences of going alcohol-free and the freedom that it brings, in the hope that it might inspire and support you in your journey. Hello and welcome to the Sober Freedom Podcast with me, Christal.
And me, Lisa.
Today we've got a very interesting guest for you. We're joined by my partner, Simon, who's stopped drinking probably about, what would you say, 12 months? About a year ago. And obviously you've heard some parts about Simon, and he's going to join us today to share his story. Hello.
Thank you. Hello. How you doing?
Good. It's great to have you here. A bit nerve-wracking.
No,
Can we just clarify? Yeah.
Oh, we need to clarify this, don't we? Oh, my God. Okay.
Si, your partner and kid's dad, all in one.
All in one.
Not
yes.
two different people, as my earlier podcast suggested.
My alter ego.
If nobody picked up on it, I said that I live with my partner and the kid's dad, which made it sound like two different people. But no, we don't have a alternative living
throuple.
No.
Yeah, so we've got our two boys together, haven't we?
Yes.
Who are 9 and 6. So do you want to tell us...
And sober.
Yeah, they're sober. So do you want to tell us a bit about what led you to stopping drinking?
I stopped drinking about 12 months ago. Drank since about 14, heavily, probably, all my life. Everything we did revolved around drink. Catching the buzz, we'd get a pint before we got the buzz. Everywhere we went was drink, drink, drink. So I've probably done it pretty much all my life. And I guess part of me got bored of it, I think. Going out kind of got bored. Once you've been out and done some of the stuff you've done, nothing really tops that, does it? Like, you're chasing a high that you're not going to get again. And I couldn't handle it anymore. I'd have a few pints and then I'd wake up with an hangover and probably won't have the day off work after 3 pints. So my levels of being out of court with it gone right down, and it was just impacting what I was doing day to day. So it seemed pretty pointless, really. So I just came to, but I didn't just stop. I cut down year on year on year, I think. I didn't ever say I'm not drinking again. I kind of just gradually went down from maybe drinking in the week to drinking at the weekends. I ultimately stopped drinking because I wanted to stop smoking. That was the main reason at one point, because every time I drank, I smoked.
Right.
So I wanted to stop smoking because I felt that smoking was probably more unhealthy than drinking. And that sort of set me off. So I stopped smoking during the week. So I tried and stop drinking through the week. So then I wouldn't want a fag, because every time I had a beer, I'd want a fag. So it was like, if I cut that out, then I'll cut that out. And then every time I went for a drink, I'd want a fag. So it was like, but yeah, it wasn't just one thing. Anxiety played a massive part. Couldn't drive if I'd been drinking. I mean, like, not after coming out of the pub, but I mean, like, a day or two later. I think there was an incident when I was, years ago, I had to drive a mate of mine's kid home.
She was like a young adult,
she was probably 14, 15. And I'd said I'd give a lift back to home, and we'd been out the night before, and I literally got to a service station about an hour from Oldham, and I had to stop driving. I had to get someone come pick us up because I just literally couldn't drive anymore.
It was like a panic attack,
like
wasn't
a panic attack
really?
And anxiety, yeah. It was like something dreadful happening because I was hungover, and then I don't think I ever recovered from that, and I couldn't drive, so that was awful.
And then, because that was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about 5-6 years ago, probably.
So do you think that sort of planted the seed? One of the things that planted the seed?
Yeah. And then I think our kid mentioned it on when you spoke to him. We went to France, didn't we? And probably didn't sleep for about 72 hours. And then I was in bed for about 4 days after that. And that was when we just had Enzo, and sort of couldn't handle that. And
yeah, so this is a trip to France that's
we went for the Euros, didn't we? And I didn't sleep for 72 days. And
22 days.
So 72 hours, must be about 3 days I didn't sleep for.
So this is a trip that's referenced in another podcast that I don't think I do want to know what went on that trip in too much detail.
Went on, just stayed out drinking all the time. And a mate of ours, Tom, was DJing. We'd got there. It was just one of them, minute you get to airport, you go, you you're there all day. We turned up to a club that we should have been there at 12 at night. We turned up there at 12 in the afternoon. So then we was out all that day till 12 at night. And then we got to the club at 12 at night. That went through till 6 in the morning. Then 6 in the morning, it was like back to the bar. We were stayed in the bar. And then the England game were on. We stayed out for that. And then got home after the England game, probably like early hours of the morning. People were just waking up. And then we had to go and get the train to where we were going next. And it was literally just didn't sleep.
Non-stop.
It was just boom, 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 boom. And that absolutely ruined me for about a week when we got home.
Yeah,
that sort of planted the seed, because then it was like, I can't do this with a kid.
We had a young baby at that time, didn't we?
And then after that, I just kept decided that, just going to try and knock it on the head. But we used to drink, didn't we? We used to drink every night of the week. Kept drinking since we were 16 every night of the week. Monday to Thursday was pub, and then Friday, Saturday was club, and then Sunday was pub, and then it was back at it.
So I think that was like you in youth more, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's fun.
But then as a couple, we would drink quite regularly.
Yeah,
together.
4, 5, 6 big bottles of beer every night.
We would sit and like drink at home together, maybe sit in the garden if it was a sunny day. Or in the evening, and I think COVID probably exacerbated that drinking as well at home. But in a way, like, not to romanticize over it, and I don't, what you think, but it was a way that we would sit and spend time together and actually connect.
And chat, yeah.
Which is hard to find that time. Like, we made the time.
But no, it's a really valid point, because as well, the decision to stop or cut down, that ultimately has got the potential to stop that closeness of like your bonding over alcohol. All right, well, what we're gonna do now? Well,
when I sort of started stopping, Christal didn't. It wasn't like, nothing was planned. I've never said, right, I'm stopping here. I've always I sort of cut down, and I think we went to a football match with our kid one time, and when at a point where I'd not been drinking very much, and we were going to drive, and then it was like, should we just get the train? Well, just get the train, we're fine. Then we got the train like 10 o'clock in the morning, first beer, like you do, and then we went on it all day, and obviously I'd not been drinking for a while, and got home, fell asleep on train, which is something I never did when I was drinking. I didn't usually fall asleep, and then I got home, and I was ruined for a week.
Right.
I was proper depressed. I was proper anxious. I phoned my brother up, and I was like, did someone spike us? I thought, I literally, because I've taken a lot of drugs as well, so I know what come down's like, and I was like, did someone spikes my drink? Did I get drugged? Because this doesn't seem right. Like, I've never been like this off drink in my life.
You were really,
I was really bad. I didn't work for a week. I was literally like, Chesterfield away, and I was like, because I had been cutting down, and I was like, I weren't going to drink that day, and I did, and we drank quite a lot, obviously, and it was only drink, but I was just like, this is mental. And like, what has happened to me here?
And it was a shock, for me, because then obviously I'm left with all the responsibilities. Si does loads, so that was a shock to be left with all those responsibilities. But you kept saying, didn't you, I think I've been spiked, and I was like, I'm pretty sure you probably haven't. But it just goes to show like the impact, because I suppose you'd had a break, how much it had, just having alcohol again had poisoned your system. Yeah.
And then at that point, it was just like, what's the point? And I'd go out then with a couple of mates, and I'd have like 2 or 3 pints. I was like, it's pointless having these 2 or 3 pints, really. I'll just go have a cup of tea. And then one night I went out, I had a coffee and a cup of tea, and that were it, and not looked back.
It's interesting, isn't it? When you get to the point where it sounds very similar to me, I was starting to get really drunk after like 1 or 2 drinks. Like, my tolerance had gone right down. Whereas when I was a student all through my 20s and early 30s, not a bother, not a bother.
It wasn't so much the tolerance. I could drink. I could have carried on drinking. It was what happened afterwards. It was the next day. It weren't really like, I can't physically drink.
Not the tolerance while she drank, but the tolerance the next day.
Afterwards. I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
I just couldn't do it. It was just it just ruined me.
Yeah.
Even
so
after a few
it got to a point where the pain of that was more attractive. It was more difficult than the fun of having the drink.
Yeah. And then I went out the other week on a 50th birthday do. Didn't have a drink. It was one of the best nights I've had in ages.
Right.
It was brilliant. No one questioned it. No one. Like, sometimes you think someone like going to stare at you, like, well, what you doing, you pussy? Like, why aren't you drinking? All this. Not a single comment apart from, oh, you look really well, and everything were good.
Do you think that made you enjoy the night more?
Yeah. But it was like, I'd not seen somebody's lads for 10 years probably. And it was like we'd not seen it, like, so I was a bit apprehensive anyway. And it's just like, the time had never passed and it was brilliant.
Great.
And now I'm not bothered. So it's just finding other things to do now, isn't it, when you're not going out boozing.
When you were going out to that night, obviously you'd not seen people for a while, and there were people that you used to drink with, weren't?
Yeah.
Were you feeling in any way? How did that make you feel? Were you feeling like apprehensive or like you might have a drink?
Yeah, just whether like, are you going to have a good night without the booze? Because every other night has involved booze with them and doing some rather stupid things. Do you know what I mean? But I was there for about 4 or 5 hours, and then you get to that point of 11 o'clock, and then people are starting to get on the edge. And I left, and really all that. Every night I've probably been out on that first 4 or 5 hours is where you have one of the best times catching up with people. But then you get to 11, and that's when it all just starts going stupid. Then, isn't it? And that's when you do the stupid stuff. So really, apart from cutting that out, top nights.
And I think those extra bits at the end, that's more like endurance then, isn't it? I think now, like after 11 or 12, that's just like the endurance where you're not going to particularly remember anything. Nothing's going to get added. And I think that's why you need like more of the fuel, the drink and everything to get you through it in a way.
After a certain time, you don't really remember half of it, do you? It becomes a bit of a blur, doesn't it? And you think they're the best times, but actually it's probably the bit before.
Exactly. Those are the stuff that you remember, isn't it? And I get to a point now where, like, I'll be very similar to you. I'll go out. It'll get to a certain point in the night where people are starting to talk broken biscuits, and I'm like, "Right, see you later."
Yeah, once I've heard that story twice, I think it's probably right now, isn't it? I'll go. But that's where I think me and Christal have always been different. Like when we were younger, I wouldn't stop, and we'd go for days, usually with the help of other substances, which stopped later on. But like, as it got later on in life with the kids and stuff, I could go out, have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pints or whatever, and still come home at 11 o'clock or whatever and eat a kebab and function and go to bed and then sort of get up and not be too bad. And that was where our difference was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very
I had
open.
the off button.
I'm very open about it. I don't have an off button. Occasionally I would go out, wouldn't I? And I'd come back at a reasonable time. And you'd say to me, well, didn't you have a good time? And don't you feel good? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I've really enjoyed it. And I feel much better that I've got home in a coherent state rather than falling through the doors. But those nights were the exception rather than the rule.
Right. And
very often I would be coming in very late, incoherently, not necessarily knowing how I'd got home. And you explain how did that make you feel?
That's where drink had such an impact on our relationship, really, as well. That's like, when we first met, all we did was drink, wasn't it? Drink. It was like...
We were in our
we had a good
20s.
time, you know what I mean? We got on, we had a good time, but then as it goes on, it has a massive impact. Like, I stopped drinking, Christal carried on going out, but probably Christal didn't have an off button and would go out and be like, yeah, I'll be back at 11, 12, and then come 2, 3 in the morning, you'd be waiting for that door, the key in the door several times. And then one door going and then another door going, and then you'd be waiting for the crash of the bang or the sound of the boot all over the floor, and that's when it starts becoming a problem, wasn't it?
And I think something that Catherine touched on when we spoke with Catherine, Lisa's partner, she was saying when she did have a drink recently, she didn't really text you to say like what she was doing.
Yeah.
Because she was a bit out of sight, out of mind, but also like because she was drinking and it was hard to even text.
Yeah.
So often I would be out and I either would think, oh, Si's going to be really annoyed with me, so I'm just going to not text. Or I'd be so pissed that actually texting was really, really hard to do. So it was usually a combination of those things that would leave you sort of in the dark thinking, well, what would you be thinking at that point?
Oh, what's she doing? Where is she? What state's she in? That would be the one worry, like how vulnerable is she? And I think there's a fine line in there that people might listen to this, and there's that fine line of controlling and caring.
Yeah.
And in the early days, it was like just whatever because there was no responsibilities. But as we've got the kids and stuff, it was always like, well, who's she out with? Is she going to make it back in time? What's the taxi driver going to be like? Because when you've seen somebody, it's like horrible to say when your partners come falling through the door and you kind of think, how have you got home? How have you actually managed? Yeah. You've not been able to message me, but how have you managed to get home? Like, just incoherence. And it's like, Jesus, you're a danger to yourself in that state somewhere, wherever in town or wherever. And, you know, all I ever wanted was like a message saying, right, I'm on my way home now. So that you knew that, like, well, hopefully she's safe and she's coming home. And it led on, didn't it? And it led on and it happened and it kept happening. And then it was just like, this can't go on. You know, there was times. It affects what we're doing with kids as well. Do you know what I mean? Like struggling to get up, and we went to our lads' football final once after you'd been out and you got in at like, I'll be back at 10 because we've got my lads' football final the next day. Like gets in at like 2:00 or whatever, gone, comes to watch the football. As soon as he's finished his match, off sat in the car, fast asleep.
It was an awful day.
And it was like, you can't expose kids. I don't want my kids to see that. I don't want that going on. It's just not. What's it bringing to the party? It's nothing.
Can I ask? Sorry to cut you. Can I ask when you knew Christal was going out that night before the football match, and she said, "Right, I'll be home at 10." Did you think to yourself, "Right, yeah"?
I knew, because of where we were at with our relationship and the relationship with booze. Because this had happened a few times before, and it was almost just like. A sort of bit of an up yours, no, don't have to. So that's how it felt to me. Of just like, well, it weren't going to happen, and then it sort of did happen. And then
the reason why I ask is because straight away, even before she's gone out, then in my experience, there's already a apprehension, or there's already a fear, or your back's up, or you're already in a mood because you know that they're not coming back at that time. Yeah. So you're mentally preparing yourself to be pissed off the next day, frustrated the next day, angry the next day. It's not just that this happened and that happened. It's all the bits in between that people don't see, and it's in a relationship. It's the kind of boiling. It's like boiling the frog, isn't it? You know, like in the water gets gradually hotter and hotter and hotter, and that's happened so many times. Like to so many people that I know, I'm myself included. Yeah.
And I think you described it. Do you remember how you described it? You said it's like you're throwing a grenade into the relationship. So we might have periods of calm, because I think my drinking would be quite cyclical. So we'd have an explosion, then I'd bring it back down, try and control it more, calm it down a little bit, be more respectful, get in on time, or send messages, and then we'd have a quieter period, wouldn't we? Like that. Yeah. And then bang, it'd go off again. And that's how you described it as like throwing a grenade into the relationship. Yeah. And I think sometimes like your behaviour, like your worry, your anxiety, I could perceive that as being a bit controlling, or stop being so uptight. Yeah. But I can really respect it. But
like you said, you kind of know it's coming, don't you? You don't want it to come, but you kind of know it's coming, and I guess that then passes on to you, and then you, whatever, we'll just go and do it. And
having a time away from it now and not drinking, I can see that it wasn't controlling. It was, you're concerned and you know that there's awful things going to happen, you know.
Yeah, very similarly to when me and Catherine were talking only yesterday about the episode that she did. And she was saying, I hope I didn't make you come across as like this controlling partner, like text me when you get here, text me when you... Because honestly, I'm not. I just wanted to know that she'd got wherever she was safely, and she was on her way home at the time that she would say, if you're going to be home 3 hours later, that's fine, but just let me know. Just let me know so I can relax. I'm not like coercive, like you must be home. Or, you know, not.
Well, I said that because I'm not asked what time you get home. I said, but just try and be able to walk through the door. Just try and be able to come home and say, all right, Si, I've had a top night, even if it's a bit like...
One of size.
Without the falling over, without the breaking of the glass, and then sometimes you come in and put the music on full blast, start dancing around, and the kids are in bed and she's just on her own, carry on drinking. And it'd be like, how could you even carry on drinking? Like the drinks would be out, whether she'd finish any more, I don't know.
I think one of yours...
that knock-on effect then, and I've got to be up for football in the morning at 7:30 to take the kids to football, and it's 2-3 o'clock and you're putting the music on full blast.
And waking you up.
Come on.
I think one of your classic Si sort of sound bites, because I've shared a few already, but one of them was like, I don't care what time you come in, it's the state that you're in. And that, didn't necessarily listen to it at the time, but it does make sense.
Well, yeah, it's it did worry me of what could happen.
And I think I've been really, I've reflected on it. I think I've been pretty fortunate that nothing, I mean, there has been problems, like a few broken teeth, not ideal. But I'm lucky that nothing worse has happened to me in those vulnerable states. Because again, I went out the other night and it's so different now that I'm not drinking. Like, how did you feel when I went out the other night?
Not bothered.
Exactly.
Relaxed.
You have such
relaxed.
Peace of mind.
They just
don't you have
go out,
peace
have a
of
good time.
mind?
That's the funny thing. She was like, "Oh, I don't know if I can be asked going out tonight." And I was like, "We just go out."
He was like,
because there's no anxiety. There's no worry there. There's no like she's going to go over the edge, or it's going to be the weekend ruined, or it's going to be. You know what I mean? Because it would ruin our weekends at times,
she'd be really
and the rest of the week.
You'd be upset,
Because you'd be
and
hanging
I'd
out your
feel
ass
awful.
and I'd feel bad, yeah.
And there had been plans that had either been cancelled or impacted by those nights, hadn't there? And something, when I did go out the other night, actually, without alcohol, obviously I had a great time. Like I find it so much more enjoyable. But I noticed a few things. One was how slow everyone around me was drinking. If I'd have been drinking, I'd have been like, where's the next drink coming from?
Yeah.
But also I got the bus home and something weird happened on the bus. And that's when I really thought, if I'd have been drunk, like how vulnerable I'd have been in that potentially been in that situation. And I think
scary.
I must have missed so much what was going on around me when you've got those like beer goggles on. So I do completely get why you would be so worried.
I'm no saint. I've ended up sleeping under cars and I've walked into random people's houses, knocking on the door, thinking I'm completely somewhere. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not coming from this point where it's like I've never done anything that's put me in danger, but everything that I did that I put myself in danger was when we were maybe together, but just no kids, and it was all different. You know what I mean? I think when your kids come in, it suddenly changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, you've got a new kind of role to fulfill.
Yeah,
it's not just about you having a good time.
And
you
we've
and
never
Christal
really
having a good time.
we thought about this, didn't we? Even though we've drank a lot, we've never really took the kids to pubs. Never been. Very rarely have we gone. You go. People go to the pub with the kids, and it's a social
I was going to say,
we've never really done it.
I've never been in a pub now that's not got kids in it.
Yeah, and we rarely, if at all, said, right, come on, we're going to the pub and took the kids with us. And when we'd leave the kids at home, we'd go out and you'd be like heavy drinkers.
But maybe we never really took them to the pub because we knew it wasn't really safe because we'd be leathered and then they won't, we need to look after them. We didn't drink around them too much.
But then again, like when I was a kid, like 46 now, kids were allowed in pubs.
Weren't
allowed in pubs. If you did, it was social services, Esther Ranson would be around in a minibus. You'd be on the telly. But now it's about that normalising it into culture.
They're there all the time.
Kids,
you might go for food.
You go to Pars Wood. You've got the wacky warehouse with a door straight into
the Green King.
Yeah. And
pubs are available.
That is mad. That it's crazy.
It was only when I stopped recently, like the beginning of this year, that I realised that everything I did was revolved around beer. Still get the message, you coming for a pint. I used to play football. Everything I did after football was pints after football. And I guess now it's just trying to fill that void.
Yeah.
So I think it's been interesting for you because obviously you've stopped drinking. A lot of your friends haven't. And do you want to say a bit about how you found that when you've been trying to sort of go out and still see your friends?
Oh, it's hard, isn't it? Because they still want to go to pub.
They still want to go.
Yeah. Still end up meeting in the pub and I'll have a cup of tea and then go for a curry or something. But we are at the point where we've said, like, we need to start meeting up and doing us. But ultimately, like, I've got a mate of mine that has got a liver problem now. So he's had to, he's got to stop drinking.
So he's been forced to stop drinking.
So he's been forced to stop drinking, and I've just decided to stop drinking. So yeah, just need to find other things to do. But I think we've done more, haven't we, like, as a family as well, just going away, because I'll drive now.
Right.
We couldn't plan going away at a weekend, because if I'd been drinking the night before,
you didn't want to drive.
I didn't want to drive.
Right.
And if I'd been drinking the night before, we'd have had
probably
some
not ended up going
catastrophic row. So I think, I think
we've
that's
ended up
right.
going away on little weekends away and stuff, more like to the lakes and here and there, because
we've done so much more, haven't we? And I think we went to the Lake District in autumn, and we stayed in like this quite remote cottage. So there was no pub within walking distance. There was no shop within walking distance.
I didn't plan that.
And like that would have been non-negotiable before. Yeah. Like we'd have had to been able to get to places because we would have been wanting to drink.
Yeah.
So it was so freeing not to have that, wasn't it? And I think as well it's highlighted sort of the kids would stay up later, because usually if we were drinking, we'd be rushing them to bed so that we could like have some more drinks. It sounds horrid, but it's the honest truth.
But also probably behaviours you weren't really conscious of doing until you've stepped back.
Yeah, of course, it was perfectly fine to be doing that. We'd never really questioned it, did
Mum,
we?
it's 4:30 in the afternoon, the sun's up, get to bed.
And I think,
that's in the morning.
So, that's one of the benefits that we have really found, is that we've been able to focus on them more. And then we'd stay up, wouldn't we, playing games and things like that. And the next day, not having a hangover. Obviously, it's so much better. We're never up and out early, are we? But we were up being more active when we were out. Yeah. So, and we've done lots of other holidays as well, haven't we? I think it's really...
It has better.
It has been a lot better.
Not perfect.
So what has been...
got a lot to improve.
What I think I would say we're still working on is I think when I would drink, it would often be like a bit of a reaction. If I was unhappy, if we weren't getting on that well, I would go out and drink as a reaction. That obviously would then put you in a bad, awkward position, a bad place. But that would, in a way, like an argument would then be an opener to a conversation really about what maybe was going on a deeper level. But it wasn't necessarily an ideal way to go about it, because we've had this explosive row usually, and then we might then start to unpick some of the problems that were there. So I think that's something we're still working on, isn't it? Because it's hard to have difficult conversations sometimes. Well, all the time it's hard to have those difficult conversations.
Yeah, so how do you navigate that sober?
We ignore it.
It's hard.
It's hard. I'm not the best communicator in the world anyway. I've always been a bit of a closed book. Like I one of that generation, and like shut up and get on with it. So it's hard.
We don't have the answers that do we? Because it's still so soon, and I think it is really difficult, and you've got to find like new ways of doing things. Because I think before, when we were drinking, that would be like a motivator. Let's go out, let's do that. So now we're going to go out after this and try and make the effort to do those things. But it is finding new ways, which can be such a challenge, I think, for us and for other people, to still have that time together and try and communicate.
Not as much to argue about now, have we?
You'll in my experience, like Catherine not drinking, there's always stuff to argue about. There's always.
But yeah, I don't think I'd ever go back to drinking. I've never said never. Never would.
You would never say never?
No, because I just feel that then you're putting something on it, aren't you? I think people put pressure on themselves sometimes as well. For those that, like I said, that I'll do dry January and then I've got to get to this point. I've got to, why put a time on it? Just, why put pressure on yourself?
I'm different. I know that I have to say never, because I know the minute I let one in, I know it would, and I just always know now it would never be one. But I think, like we've said before, it's also personal to each individual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, and you have to navigate it how it works for you. Like no one else is living in your head. No one else is experiencing your day to day when you're drinking, when you're not drinking. So you just have to navigate it. Big big thing for me is I can't stand being ill. I can't stand having a snotty nose, never mind a hangover. The thought now of feeling rough from self-inflicted drinking is just, I'm moonwalking out of it. I just couldn't imagine putting myself through that again.
Well, I got food poisoning not so long back from eating some dodgy bacon, and I was ill for about a week. I was proper rough. And then every time now I'm like, oh, should I eat the bacon? Should I eat the bacon? Whereas when I've been drinking,
it's an ongoing problem.
but when I was drinking, you didn't give a shit about that, did you?
That's true.
You'd drink, you'd feel rough for 3 days, and then you'd be like, oh, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to touch that bacon, but I'll go and have a drink. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so what's the point? And if drink's making me feel like that, then I'm not going to carry on doing it.
That's interesting because it's the little stories you tell yourself, how you justify things as well. You know, bacon butter, 2 minutes, one, gone. Do you know what I mean? But it's a night, it's an experience, you know,
I
drinking.
I feel like that again, so I'm going to check my bacon's date on it. But I remember once I think a killer for me was, I walked, this was probably the beginning of this year, and I'd been cutting down on my drinking. I'd been out a couple of times, just had a couple of pints of Guinness or whatever. And I walked into a pub to meet a mate, and I looked at the bar, and my eyes just took me down the bar. And I took the optics, and there weren't a single drink on there that I fancied. It were like...
Wow.
And then I knew, because usually you walk, Peroni, or I'll have a pint of that. Oh yeah, that's going to go down well now. And I looked at them, and not a one made me think like, oh, that'd be nice. And I was like, can I have coffee, mate?
Wow.
Not coffee, mate, like the milk. Have a coffee, and I had a coffee, and it was like, that's that then, isn't it? That's easy.
Good.
And even now when I walk in, I don't really see a pint of something and think, oh, God, I want.
It's interesting because so many people would just feel uncomfortable not having a alcoholic drink in a pub, that they would just order something just to ease their own anxiety about it. So that's really that's a big step. That
I don't like. I never really liked lager and stuff anyway that much. Just drank it to get pissed, didn't you?
Yeah.
Never really been like, ooh, let's have that IPA. It tastes like soap. Don't want that, do I? Do you know what I mean?
You never really were that bothered about the taste of it.
Guinness,
anyway,
a bit like drinking tar. You know what I mean? Lager's just fizzy bubbles. Cider, hanging. Proper cider. But I used to love it. Yeah, I used to.
So,
but then, like, I would, if anyone just, I don't know what the stigma is about asking for a cup of coffee in a pub.
But
maybe at 11 o'clock at night, you know.
When they don't want to make
When they don't want to make
We've been in a pub and we were almost chased out of this pub for when you ordered a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Really?
Pub this. Pub.
Yeah, it was like, there's a cafe down the road.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of places do serve now, don't they? But I think people are still probably like embarrassed to ask for a cup of tea in a pub. I take my own tea bags now just in case.
So but I think it's had. I think there was a time, wasn't there, where for the relationship we were going in different ways because you'd stopped and I hadn't, and we were sort of going in completely different directions. Yeah. So just bringing it back to that, but we're finding our way, aren't we? Back together by
it was for me. It was do or don't, weren't it? It was like not without the control. It was stop drinking. All right, I'm going. So because it just got to the point where I just couldn't cope with it. It was just horrendous, and it was quite clear that alcohol was playing a massive part in breaking our relationship.
It was playing a huge part, and I think when I was still drinking and you weren't, I couldn't really see that. Like I was sort of framing it like, oh, Si is boring. He doesn't want to go out. He doesn't want to do anything. But now that I've stopped drinking, I can completely see where you were coming from, and also my desire to go out so much because I'm not, in my head it's like, no, I want to see friends, I want to have a good time. But so much of that motivation of me going out the house was to drink. And
regardless of who you were with.
Sometimes, I think ultimately, once I'd start drinking, the drink was more important than the people I was with. And that was driving us apart, wasn't it? So it's so good to be coming back together now as a couple. But it is a lot, it takes work, doesn't it?
What is it? leave them wanting more.
Another size sound bite.
Don't stay
I
to
love
the
that.
end. What's the point? Even I can do that now, can't I? Because I'm always leaving early anyway. So,
Did you see this coming with Christal?
what?
Like the completely, like the stopping drinking.
Did I see it coming? I didn't know if it
Like,
happened.
could you imagine her as she is now? 10 months ago, maybe 12 months ago.
Probably not. No, it's been a massive change around.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, 10 months ago, I would not have thought
Hmm.
in 10 months' time you're going to stop drinking, you're going to be having a really lovely time with your family, and you're going to be doing a podcast about not drinking.
Yeah, just from what you're both saying about your drinking, it sounds like you've had a massive, like, 180 about it, and now you're embracing it. Whereas from what you're saying, from what Si's saying, struggling to put your keys in the door, dancing late to the night on your own, dancing around your handbag in the living room, waking the neighbours up. Like, it's hard to make the comparison with those two. It's like two different people. Yeah. It's really interesting. It's really interesting, and interesting for me as well, looking from the outside in, about how you now navigate this new, almost like new relationship. Obviously it's a new relationship, but for something that impacted you so deeply to now be taken out of the picture, it's like, okay, so how do we fill that gap? How do we keep the communication going? How do we deal with difficult conversations? Are the alternative things that we do now instead of drinking, how are they impacting our life? Is it beneficial or is it worse? I know some people who it's worse because now I'm like, oh, I've got to have a sober conversation with you now.
It can be hard to connect still.
Yeah.
And I think especially as we've experienced, if one person is drinking and one isn't, that's always going to be really, really hard.
Yeah, I think that's what I struggle with. Catherine has never known me before I've stopped drinking. So I remember before we went on our first date, she was telling some of her friends and her family. First off, she said, "Oh yeah, I'm going on a date," and she's 40 years old. And they're like, 40, because like she's 10 years younger than me. Like, that's an old bid. What are you? And then they said, "Oh, and she doesn't drink." What? That'll never work. It'll never work. So, but she's never known me. Not like she's never known me drink. So one of our kind of like bugbears was I'd always want to leave the party early, like you say, when it gets to about 11 o'clock, when no one's talking sense, when nothing ever is going to happen good after that. And I'm thinking, I've got to drive home, blah, 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 blah. For me, I was happy for her to stay out and enjoy herself. I wasn't like, right, come on, we're going. But whenever I would say, I'm going to get going or should we go, her face would drop. It'd be like, oh, God. And it'd be, I used to dread asking or saying, should we get going? Or do you know what, I'm going to leave in about half an hour. And it'd be instantly like, fuck's sake, like, why are you spoiling it? Why are you, being a downer on it kind of thing? Now that she doesn't drink, she's the one saying it to me, and I could never imagine her being that because she's such a party girl. Even though, like, I'd never seen her in vulnerable states, she could handle her alcohol quite well. She would just go and go and go and go, which I was happy for her to do. I didn't want me not drinking to impact on her fun. That's why I would always say, stay out as long as you want. Just text me, let me know that you're safe, or let me know if you're not coming home, if you're staying at such a person's, that's fine. Just let me know. And that would never happen. But I used to dread the kind of, do you mind if we get going, or I'm going to shoot off. I used to hate the look of like, fucking boring. Like, why are you spoiling the party type of thing? But now she can fully appreciate where I'm coming from. I've still not had an apology for all those times. Like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I recognise where it's coming from. Still not had that, Catherine. But I'm glad now that she can see where I was coming from.
Yeah. I enjoy being able to get home, me and all now, without having to piss about with taxis and buses.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we were of a generation where it was always last man standing.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, growing up for me, especially from like 16, in the pub, having a smoking weed, drinking Monday to Thursday, and then going out, it'd be like, who can stay up till like, you know what I mean? It was always like, just no matter what, you'd have to take something else, just keep going, keep going and keep going and keep going. There's no like, you know, eating's cheating and
very
don't go to bed.
Held on a pedestal, wasn't it?
It was just, it was full on, wasn't it? It was great.
Badge of honour.
But I loved it, don't get me wrong, back in the day, but then obviously it just takes its toll, doesn't it? And it comes a point where it's just like, move on.
So I think we've shared quite a lot there about, you know, our journey and where we are now. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about?
Fancy a pint. Not really, no. No, it's just, it's good. And I wouldn't think I'd go back.
I definitely wouldn't go back. So that's good that we're on the same page now, isn't it?
It's weird though. It's weird trying to come up with new ideas of what to do to get your sort of buzz.
But as we were saying on the way here, actually, with having children takes so much of your time anyway. So it's like we weren't probably giving. Well, not that we weren't giving them, but we can give them more attention and more present time now. Obviously, they did get that, but you know, some of it was through a hangover. Yeah. Again, don't get Esther Ranson coming over. But yeah, it's, you know, we do have to look for new things to do. So we're going to go out after here, aren't we, for something to eat? Mm-hmm. We've done some walks and things, but I think it's finding things individually as well, isn't it? Like obviously, I've got the gym with you, Lisa, which I love going to. Yeah, but I go to football now, don't I, with our kid and the lads, and. You know what? It's nice because you actually, not that it's any good because you don't really want to remember some of the games, they're that bad. But it's nice to remember what you're doing. We've been to loads of away games and I remember them. But yeah, you could throw out God knows how many away games that I would not have a clue what we did and what ended up happening because it was just drink infused. Yeah. Whereas now I had to go and enjoy it. That was another thing I didn't think, would I be able to go and watch a football match without drinking? Would I actually be able to do it? Like, because it's not something I'd really ever done since I was about 9 or 10. Yeah. And then, yeah, of course it is. That's what, I think that's what's always like, can you do all the stuff you did before that was all with drink? Because everywhere you went, I had to have a drink. Whether it was a party, I had to have a drink. Family get-together, I had to have a drink. And it was almost everything. And I always thought, would I be able to go to the pub with my mates without drinking? Would I be able to go and watch a football match without drinking? Would I be able to go and meet some new people without drinking? Because it was always there. And the answer is yeah, innit? Because it's... Yeah. And I think it can be really hard, can't it? But I think the more that you do it, the easier it becomes. The easier, the less kind of anxiety around it you have, because each time you do it, it just comes a little bit less. It's just another easy. One night under the belt. Yeah, and it's just easy until you get to the point where it's like, this is my norm now. Don't even think about it. Yeah, I'll meet you. I'll meet you in the pub at 3:00. I think it takes a while though, doesn't it? Yes, because, definitely. Like, people do dry January and I don't feel anything. I stopped once for about 3 weeks and I was like, I don't feel shit. I don't feel very good at all. Like, it's not doing anything. I might as well just have another drink again. But actually, it takes months to seem to get it out of your system and then actually start feeling the benefits of it. It's a while, doesn't it? It's not just sorry, Christal, I'll keep cutting you off. I was going to say, it's not just even the physical aspects of what you're feeling, it's the habitual aspects of it. I remember years ago, me and my mate used to live together, and when we'd come home from work, we'd have our tea or whatever, and we'd always go out for last orders, always go out every single night, did spread, just go to the Crown, have a pint, that was it. And then he went away somewhere. And then on the first night, I was like, got to about 9:00, I was like, what am I going to do?
And I felt like I didn't realise it had become such a habit. But I was like, oh God, what am I going to... I can't go on my own. Like, do you know what I mean? And I was like, it really shocked me. And that was, oh my God, like maybe 15 years ago, something like that. But that always stays in my mind as well, like how easy it is just to get into a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just the physical aspects of I don't feel better, it's the little routine and the little associations you have, like going to the football. I never thought I'd go to the match without having a pint. I was fuming once. Went to Champions League match years ago at City and they didn't sell beer on Champions League nights. I was like, you what? Are you mad? What am I supposed... What? I was fuming.
And
fuming.
I think so many people would have that reaction as well, like
Yeah.
utter outrage that you couldn't get a beer.
Outrage, like that's pathetic. Like, relax.
And how did you still enjoy the night, or did it impact?
Well, I think it impacted a little. Yeah, it did. It did, because half the time I'm thinking, that is disgusting that I can't get a pint tonight. Like, what the hell? Got to listen to them Dortmund fans all night, like sober. Are you kidding me?
And that's where we're at as a society, isn't it? Like, just obsessed and wanting it at every opportunity. And I went to a concert the other day, with my dad. He'd invited us, and it was, a classical concert in the afternoon. And it really sort of hit me. I thought, maybe like a year ago, I wouldn't have been there. I wouldn't have any interest in going somewhere that alcohol wasn't available or part of that picture.
Yeah,
and that's how much in society, I think, how present it is. Not for everyone. Obviously, there's plenty of people who will go out and not think in that way.
Of course, but like you say, if it's part of you and your culture and how you've kind of navigated your teens, early 20s, your 30s, it's natural. It's like bread and butter. It's natural, and it is a bit like when it's not there,
But I think that there's plenty of things that you can do without alcohol. And I think I think some of those things, like going to a pub, not drinking, can be really hard maybe at the beginning. But like say, as you get more under your belt, then it can become easier.
Yeah, and as long as it's who you're with, isn't it?
Yes.
We always had another saying, didn't we? It's not where you are, it's who you're with.
We need another podcast with size sayings.
That usually meant no matter what pub we're in, as long as it's a shithole or not, as long as I'm with my mates, it's good, isn't it? So, yeah.
No, it's true. It's very true, that. Very true. And to your point then, like saying there's plenty of things you can do without alcohol. You can actually do everything without alcohol. You can do anything and everything.
More. Yeah. And it's so free, and you can drive everywhere. You're not having to factor in time for the hangovers.
Having days off work, pre-booking days off work, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So it's reframing it, isn't it? It's not giving something up. It's definitely, I found it's opened so many more opportunities.
It's
and as
pretty liberating in many respects. And I never ever thought I would get to the day where I weren't drinking. Never once in my mind, from the age of 14 to in my late 20s, it crossed my mind that I wouldn't never have a day without a drink.
And as a family, it has given us so much more, hasn't it?
Yeah. I can look back over years. I've ruined family dues. Do you know what I mean? It did have a massive impact. Yeah. Before we were even together, I missed 60th birthdays, ruined family meals, turned up completely off my head at like weddings, doing stuff at weddings that should, you know what I mean? Everyone's done, but it's like, Jesus.
Yeah.
They were messy, like very, very messy times. And they were good when they happened. And now that's half my life drinking, half my life probably not.
Fair play.
See which is best when I get to end, won't it?
I think we can already see the benefits of not, and that's like early days, isn't it?
Yeah. Might have a tipple on my deathbed.
So a friend of mine, she's like, we'll get a vineyard when we're, 70. I'm like, do you know what? I think I'm good. I don't even want that. I don't even want a vineyard when I'm, well, not even 70, it'll be 80, won't it? But no, I'm good. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming on and sharing, because it was a bit, a bit nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah, thanks so much, because obviously, you're a couple, so it's very raw and very, being very vulnerable to be so open and honest on this like platform. So I appreciate that.
All right. No worries.
Oh, thank you.
You will.
We can go and get our dinner now. So I think thank you to everyone for listening. And again, if you've got any comments or observations or questions, you can put them all on in the show notes and at the sober.freedom Instagram account.
And don't forget to like, share, follow, tick, whatever, scratch your bum, but do it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
The Sober Freedom podcast is hosted by Christal Dauncey and Lisa McGuinness. To leave comments, ask questions and interact with the show, follow at sober.freedom on Instagram. Please also subscribe, rate and leave comments wherever you listen to help us reach more people. The show is recorded at QPod Studios in Oldham and produced by me, Matt Dean, with video production from Eddie Corteen for QPod Productions. For more information, please visit kupod.co.uk.